1 minute because people are still collecting. Okay, so I think it's time now. We had a short break, but we have a fantastic 1-hour discussion now. We will have 8 new members of EGEC that have joined EGEC in 2021 to present their profile. I will mention them in 1 minute. So it's a 1-hour event we have now. The concept, you know, it's because it's not the first edition, it's the third edition. As I mentioned, we had more than 30 new members this year, and we try to give them the opportunity to present their profile because we are all still unfortunately living in a virtual mode and not able to physically network. So it's that created the idea from the EGEC board to create this virtual meet-the-member sessions. Hope in 2022 we can physically meet, but today it will be in a virtual mode. I will give the floor to Miklos for a short introduction. And after we have orient pitch, so it's a pitch of 5 minutes. And after we create breakout rooms, and you can engage with each individual members in the breakout rooms. So we have GFZ, we have Geothermal Energy, Nordic, HS Orka, MS Energy Solutions, SMP Drilling, Vulcan Energie, and Yeager Energie. Miklos, I give you the floor for the introduction.
Yes. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Miklos Antic. I'm the EGEC president. Well, I welcome you to this third session of Meet the Members in a virtual mode. Yeah, unfortunately, since 2019, we haven't got the opportunity to meet in person with the members to have the good networking. Well, it looks like 2022 becomes the same like 2021. Well, let's hope that this situation gets better, and this autumn at the European Geothermal Conference, we will meet all together, and then we will network as in the real world. Well, I invite you, each of you now, to take the floor and present your company, and let us know, let you introduce among all the other members in the community. And very much welcome to the EGEC. And this is very important for us to have strong members and membership to support geothermal and its development, not only in Europe, but all over where it is possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miklos. And I immediately give the floor to Marton Farkas from GSS Potsdam, one of the leading research centers in geoscience. Marton, the floor is yours.
Good morning, and thank you, Philippe and Miklos. Let me first share my screen with you. Can you see it and hear me as well?
Yes, everything is fine.
Perfect. So good morning, everybody. My name is Marton Farkas, and let me introduce you the German Research Center for Geosciences, or the GFZ, where I am a finishing PhD student at the moment. The GFZ is the National Research Center for Geosciences in Germany, and it is the member of the Research Association Helmholtz. The Research Institute was founded in 1992, so it will celebrate its 30th birthday next year. It has more than 1,000 employees, including scientific, technical, and administrative personnel. In 2020, the GFZ had a budget of about 100 million euros for research purposes. Our mission is to deepen the knowledge of solid earth dynamics and to contribute to solutions for grand societal challenges. These grand challenges include the anticipation and mitigation of the consequences of natural hazards arising from the Earth's dynamic systems. And we can also mention securing our habitat under the pressure of global change. And not mentioning the sustainable supply of energy and mineral resources for a rapidly growing population. And this is where geothermal research at GFZ comes into play. The GFZ is unique in a way that it consists research teams for the entire supply chain or value chain for geothermal energy utilization. This includes exploration, interaction between rocks and fluids, reservoir engineering, including drilling engineering and hydraulics or any kind of stimulation processes, as well as process and plant technology throughout the life cycle of a geothermal plant. And let me introduce you a spin-off team from Green Heat as one of the spin-off teams from the Geothermal Research Department of GFZ. So the Green Heat team, which I am the head of that, is a team which focuses on the aspect that the geothermal energy, as we all know, is the sleeping giant due to its potential for enormous heat, power, and latent resource from the underground. However, it is also known among us that it's a complex, lengthy, and costly investment for energy suppliers, especially for deep geothermal energy utilization. And this is accompanied with a huge and hardly manageable data set, which is generated throughout the life cycle of a geothermal or of a deep geothermal project. Therefore, the startup team Green Heat offers a software as a service solution which enables geothermal energy developers to keep it simple, and while it allows rapid data inclusion, protecting and preserving data sets, as well as gaining insight into other aspects of the project development based on the input data, such as risk analysis for induced seismicity and the tracking of key performance indicators. The developer can profit from reduced costs, faster project delivery, and of course, via improved efficiency. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Martin, for this inspiring presentation from GFZ. And I now give the floor to Thor Erik Musaeus. We fly from Germany to Norway to present geothermal energy Nordic.
Thank you, Philip. I will then share the screen with you. Here we go, I hope. Let's see if I can then manage to make this as a presentations. So everybody sees this, I hope. So thank you for being
just click on the top display settings.
Sorry?
If you can click on display settings.
Yes.
And swap.
Swap. Sorry. Okay. So here we are. So my name is Thor Erik Musaeus. I'm the CEO of Geothermal Energy Nordic. I'm happy to be invited to present us as a member of the European Geothermal Energy Council and meeting the members. I have many years in the geothermal industry, and we'll give you a short introduction to our company, gtml. We are aiming to be a leading geothermal energy company in the Nordics, and we have a business model and a target to build a geothermal company that will build and develop energy plants, own and operate them as for the clients. And the energy systems that we are based our business on is deep energy wells. We are working with proven technology. We are circulating hot water in dry basement rocks which enable us to extract a long-lasting and renewable energy source from these rocks, and providing a very interesting, strong value proposal to our clients. And you can see the principles in our technology to the left in this presentation. The main issue is that we are working in dry basement rocks, which is not the same as you normally do in many other places with geothermal in Europe or in the world as such. We see that there is a lot of energy stored in the basement rocks in the Nordic countries, and also everywhere else where you have basement rocks. And we have a team that have an in-depth competence within extracting this heat, and also an associated network by the experts in the Nordic countries that also understands very well the energy systems. The team has also a broad experience from the oil and gas industry, which also allow us to really drill this well efficiently and make an optimal energy takeout and with a minimal surface occupation from deep wells. And talking about deep wells, we're talking about depth from 500-600 meters and down to 1,500-2,000 meters vertical depth in hard rocks. 2 projects have been done. The 2 pictures to the left shows the result of 2 wells to 1,500 meters that are de-icing the engine test area and the concrete pad in the Oslo airport, where the heat from the wells are circulated directly into the concrete pad. And the same has been done at the National Emergency Center, Response Center for the Police close to Oslo, where there are 4 helipads that are de-iced as well. So as you can see, there are 2 main ways of using this heat. One of them is direct heating, and in the Nordic countries we see quite a lot of possible applications for this. Keeping, for example, football fields soft during the winter time so it can be played on all year around. Keeping pedestrian areas during wintertime ice-free, using it at airports as shown. We see also a possible application in critical parts of roads during wintertime, and also a potential heating of warehouses. And it's important to underline that this is done by circulating the water directly from the well with a temperature about around 15 degrees. Going to the another big market is, of course, when needed heating and cooling and hot water is needed in buildings. And there we see a lot of possible applications, and there's as residential blocks, hotels, hospitals, district heating, etc. And we are working at the moment with several projects within district heating and residential areas, as well as football fields. There is a strong value proposal by using this kind of technology for geothermal. It's affordable, it's clean, it's long-lasting, and it's scalable. It's flexible for the client. And of course, this is an innovative way of deploying geothermal energy, and is ideal for urban areas where area and land is a valuable part of a city development, for example. So I will stop with this, and hope that gave you a brief introduction to our company, and also to conclude, to say that we are also been lucky to have an investor into our company, which gives us the possibility to really fulfill our full-fledged business plan for the next 2 to 3 years through Carrigain Capital in the UK. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Erik, and it's nice indeed to see project development in Nordic areas. We know there's a potential there, And it's good to see companies like yours developing projects in Norway, but also in other Nordic areas.
Thank
Now
you.
we are moving north of Europe and flying to Iceland. I will now give the floor to Ingvi Gudmundsson from Ressourcen, developing and operating project in Iceland. Ingvi, the floor is yours. You are muted for a moment.
Thank you. I'm trying to share the screen. Do you see the screen?
Yes, everything is fine. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Ingvi. I'm the head of engineering at Ressourcen, and I'm going to give you a little bit of presentation on our operation. Ressourcen is a privately owned independent power producer in Iceland, probably the biggest privately owned power producer in Iceland. We are owned by pension funds in Iceland and a UK fund called Ankala Partners. We have 2 geothermal power plants and 1 hydropower station in operation. I just jumped right to that. So we own and operate all of these plants, and we have developed them from greenfield. We have Reginus geothermal power plant, which is 100 megawatt of installed power. And then we have Svartsengi power plant, which is 75 megawatt of installed electrical power, as well as 190 megawatt of thermal power. The thermal power is we generate power for district heating systems in the neighboring communities. So the Svartsengi power plant is a fully integrated heat and power plant with cascading use. And then we have a recent 10 megawatt hydropower station. Now, a lot of our operation is development. We have one development project going on in construction. That's expansion of our 100 megawatt power plant in Reginus. We're also in pre-development and engineering of expanding Svartsengi by 35 megawatts. And we also have some greenfield projects, which are not fully greenfield. Some testing has been done there, but which we intend to develop in the coming years. The same with Eldrup, which is at a similar place. But we're not just geothermal, as I said. We have 1 hydropower station. We are looking into several other concessions for hydro as well as wind. Although our background is primarily geothermal and our knowledge base is there. Now, I mean, if you go for geothermal power plants around the world, we generate power from high pressure steam. We're not very much in low pressure, although low pressure or low temperature is very knowledgeable to us because we have a lot of that in Iceland, and we are developing for this heating system, which is very similar. But what we pride ourselves of and what makes us maybe a little bit different is the resource park concept. So we sort of don't view our power plant as just a power producer, but it's just, part of something bigger, and we try to build up a resource park around all our power plants, where we call it society without waste. And we have been and are currently trying to get partners with us that build something in the vicinity of our power plants, which uses power, but typically something else as well, like hot water or some minerals from the brine or CO2, of course. As you see, this is a proven concept we've done. Probably the most famous part of our resource park is the Blue Lagoon, which has far more employees than we have by a mile. These places are popular tourist areas. We have agriculture companies, food processing plants, etc., etc. As I said, and from a geothermal power station, the resource streams that we sort of primarily look at is there is usually cold water in these places. We can produce hot water, geothermal brine. We are fortunate that some of our power plants, like Reykjanes, is close to the sea, and actually all of the power plants are not far from it. So warm seawater, which we use for cooling our plants, has become a commodity for fish farming, etc., for instance. And of course, we are a green certified electricity producer. In some cases, we supply steam directly. And then carbon dioxide, which many might not see as a resource, but now with the changes in the energy market, we can supply a clean CO2 stream, which has been for several years used for recycling carbon and creating fuels. Yeah, and that's us in a short presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ingvi. Yes, really nice photos, and good to see that you have not only plants in operation, but also some in the pipeline for the future. Indeed, I heard that indeed the demand for electricity can still go in Iceland. Now we are flying to Hungary, and my pleasure to give the floor to Kristina from MS Energie Solutions. Floor is yours, Kristina.
Yes. Hi everyone, welcome. I think that Consuelo will help me with the presentation. This is the last slide. Can you please move to the first slide? Thank you very much. So my name is Kristina Thor, and I have the honor to present to you on behalf of our company, MS Energie Solutions Ltd. Next slide, please. Our company was established in 2007, and since we are operating and working successfully in Central and Eastern Europe, and we are based in Hungary. Our company specialists include energy specialists, reservoir engineers, and drilling specialists as well. Our company can be divided into 4 main branches. For example, we deal with everything related to the hydrocarbon sector. Under the umbrella of MS Renewables, we do everything regarding geothermal projects, for example, thermal water productions and closed cycles. Next slide, please. So our main profile is the geothermal sector. We are supporting geothermal projects and programs. We do consultancy and also anything related to thermal water production and secondary use of deep dry holes. Regarding this secondary use of deep dry holes, we have a new system called WeHeat systems. This is our one of our main focuses today. It's a direct heat recovery program. Next slide, please. So our portfolio in Hungary can be seen in this slide. We are in connections with the big cities in Hungary. For example, Mosonmagyaróvár and Győr. Budapest is in progress now, and one of the latest projects of ours is the so-called WeHeat system, which was established near the city of Kiskunhalas. Next slide, please. So more about the WeHeat technology. What is this? So it's a deep geothermal probe operated in a fully closed loop system, and it's implemented in a well structure of a deep dry hole. It can be implemented to already existing hydrocarbon wells, or it can be implemented into new drillings as well. The system is fully closed. The heat can be used for large buildings and industrial halls, or sports facilities, or greenhouse heating. So it's an excellent solution, for example, the agricultural industry. It's a cost-effective solution. By installing the system, it's a fast and flexible installational process. As I said, it's a closed system, so there is no water extraction. You don't have to deal with anything regarding the water treatment risks and costs. There are no hazardous materials during the production of the heat. So it's a zero waste, zero carbon technology. So it's perfectly fits for the climate goals that we wish and seek to reach in the next part of the century. So next slide, please. So the fully closed cycle it is implemented in a cased hole with a cement plug at the bottom hole. It's a simple heat center at the wellhead. and it's an optimal energy design that can be implemented, as I said, to already existing wells or new drillings. Next slide, please. So our first project was completed to our engineering design expertise near the city of Kiskunhalas this year. So you can see it in the slide that how it looked like before we repurposed the well. Next slide, please. And now I would like to thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, we are more than happy to answer it. And you can reach us via these channels. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. No, from our side, Kristina, good to see the development in Hungary. I apologize now because it was not mentioned in my slide, but we give the floor to Samorka, the Icelandic cluster, and we should have Finnur.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, so the floor
Morning
is
to
yours.
you. Let me just jump to the slides and share my screen. So you're able to see my slides now and hear my voice as well.
I confirm for yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning to you all, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to present Samorka at this Meet the Members event, and also thank you the people who took part in the meeting this morning, which was very informative. So in this few minutes that we have, what is Samorka? This new member of EGEC. Samorka is a federation of energy and utility companies in Iceland, very much similar, I guess, to what people are used to in terms of business associations. Samorka was founded in 1995 through a merger of a number of associations in different fields of the power and energy industry. So currently, Samorka does have a diverse group of members which covers all fields of energy and utilities. And that includes, of course, the leading enterprises in Iceland in the power sectors and utilities. And there's some degree of public and private ownership in the Icelandic power sector. And also, as Ingvi mentioned, for HS Orka in the presentation earlier, there's to a certain degree a foreign investment in the Icelandic power sectors. And we also have like smaller members, municipalities, which do operate waterworks and sewage utilities. And finally, we have to a certain degree a number of alternative members, which are companies which do have a clear connection with the power and utilities industry, such as engineering firms, big off-takers, companies that want to be involved in the sharing of knowledge within Samorka. So the diagram on the right sort of summarizes the different aspects of the industry that we have. We have power production companies and sales, district heating, waterworks, sewage utilities, and power utilities, including both distribution and transmission. Just many of you, of course, know this, but there's a long history of harnessing geothermal energy in Iceland. It's been a while since the district heating took off in Iceland, almost 100 years ago. And since then, there's been an ever-increasing development, both harnessing geothermal for district heating and also producing power. And of course, as you know, preferably both, making the most of the power that's available. So we're blessed with the fact that Iceland today has 85% renewable energy. My apologies for this slide. You have the opportunity to learn a single word in Icelandic, which is on the left. It says heimurinn, which is the world, currently having 26 or 7% of renewable energy. We have Europe in the middle with 20%, but Iceland being blessed with the abundance of natural resources and 85% renewable energy. Just to give you a glimpse of the sort of biggest players within our companies, we have up in the far left corner Landsvirkjun, which is a state-owned power producing company. It's by far the largest one in the Icelandic market. We have ON or Orka Náttúran in the middle, which is owned by the Reykjavik municipality, a big power producer. And then HS Orka, which is now a member of EGEC. a partly privately owned company, which has been quite influential in the geothermal industry in Iceland. I would skip the other companies to make use of the time, but I wanted to just stress the fact, given the long history of geothermal in Iceland, there's also a history of innovation and international cooperation, and that's been ever developing and is apparent these days and evident in a number of stories around projects being undertaken within our partners and members. Just to note a few, there is this progress of fully utilizing all of the resource streams stemming from the geothermal harnessing. Ingvi noted some of his projects with HS Orka, and as you can see, I noted just as example in the left corner where they have some fish farming projects taking place. Landsvirkjun is involved in hydrogen projects in the eastern part of the country. Some of you may know the Carbfix company, which OR and ON have been involved with in trying to capture and turn carbon into stone. And just finally, as an example of the sort of integration of the Icelandic geothermal industry with the international one, many of you may have known and perhaps taken part in the World Geothermal Congress, which just took place in Iceland a few months ago. So we want to operate a federation which is a trustworthy, informative partner, platform for our members to share knowledge. And we want to be an influential advocate for the power and utility industry in Iceland. You know, the building there, I usually would not put a picture of our offices in a presentation like this, but I just wanted to stress the fact that Samorka is located with other business organizations within Iceland. So in case you're looking for some connections to other industries in Iceland, Samorka has a great opportunity to hook you up with any potential, be it industry, be it fishing, and so on. I'll skip this slide. It's just into more detail of our role. I want just to stress the point that Samorka also wants to be very connected to other partners in Europe. We are a member of Eurelectric, Nordic Energie, Wind Europe, and we're glad to be now part of EGEC. And I just want to make the point that this is important to us as Iceland is a member of the European Economic Area and therefore adopts and implements most of the European legislation. So every policy making and interest work on behalf of those international actors within the European Union is of importance for Iceland and our partners. And finally, just to note the team here, as with everything in Iceland, it's a small population and we have a staff of 5, but we cover a lot of ground, and I would argue that this is a strong team being able to, with a background in the industry, and therefore able to help you in case you have any questions or projects that you want to pick up with us. And please feel free to contact us if you have any questions or thoughts about Iceland and the Icelandic power and utilities industry.
Yes, thank you, Finnur. Indeed, I think it's good to have this relationship with Iceland. We have seen also from HS Orka that indeed it's a dynamic market, Iceland. Maybe a cable will join Iceland to Scotland a day, and it will even strengthen the relationship between Europe and Iceland with a direct electricity connection. Now I'm flying back to France, and indeed in EGEC we cover all the value chain, and we have some new drilling company joining, and I give for that the floor to SMP Drilling, and we should have Benjamin Hennet, the technical director. Yes, floor is yours.
Yes, good morning, guys. Should I share my screen?
Yes, if you can also share your webcam.
Okay. Right. Can you see?
Not yet.
What's happening? I don't know. Zoom is telling me that it is sharing.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. We can see it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Right. So SMP, we are a drilling contractor active in France and in West Africa. We were established in '98. Firstly, starting in the workover industry. In France for the oil, I mean, maintaining the oil wells, but also from the first years, I mean, active in the geothermal business in Paris area. As you know, I mean, the French geothermal wells are pretty old, I mean, compared to the rest in Europe. So there's quite some work in the geothermal business. We are located, I mean, close to Paris, in the Paris Basin, which is the historical oil industry in France. This is pretty much the Texas of France, but the oil production is quite low. So eventually, I mean, the SMP moved to, I mean, also expanded its business in West Africa, in Gabon and Congo, where we have active bases. And we are supporting, I mean, the operators, or the oil operators over there. In France, we are also supporting the gas storage business, and sometimes there's some work in the chemical business. So we have developed 18 rigs drilling and workover fleet. So ranging from 80 tons to 350 tons. And we really developed in-house, I mean, the design of our rigs, and we are partnering with, typically our rigs are built in the US. We have partners there, and we are really, I mean, digging into the requirement of our customer in order to offer fit for purpose solutions. So I'll come back on this. This slide is not very interesting. So what we develop in terms of technology, I mean, the aim, you know, nowadays is to provide a rig as green as possible. So whether it's using latest technology to minimize fuel consumption, or even to connect the rig to the electrical grid. Also minimizing any pollution we could do. So we have developed equipment to minimize the possible spills. And quite interesting for the geothermal business, you need a very compact footprint. Recently we drilled a well very close by to Paris, where the available space was really small, and we keep working with the other service companies to minimize that footprint. We are aiming to be able to drill the typical geothermal wells of Paris within 2,500 square meters, so basically 50 by 50 meters. This is what we're working on nowadays. Our rigs are capable to walk, so which is very interesting for the geothermal business. When you are drilling doublets, you can batch drill and give more chance for the cement to harden and to dry, and to get a good integrity for the well. We are really involved with technological players, and are able to provide to our customers the latest automatic drilling technologies that are required, you know, in any industrial drilling. So I mean, this is, I mean, really depending on the client's will, I mean, we can really adapt ourselves and provide finest technologies. This is pretty much the development of the company, starting in '98 and building the fleet to 18 rigs. Most of them at the moment are occupied. To tell you the truth, I mean, the COVID really slowed down our activity last year, but now it's really picking up again, and we expect next year to from mid next year in France, especially, to have one continuous rig in the geothermal business with times where we will have to. We've been in the last 20 years, we've been active in Eastern Africa as well, Kenya, Mozambique, and now we're looking into keep on developing the countries in other countries such as Chad. But actively speaking, right now we are active in France, Gabon, and Congo. I just want to end the presentation to talk about the partnership we have. I mean, within the same group of SMP, there is a drilling training center called EFF, École Française de Forage, and we develop over there, I mean, specific training. So I mean, definitely, I mean, nowadays, I mean, we have to look towards geothermal, and the company is looking into is working on specific geothermal courses. I mean, for the drillers, whether it's targeting shallow drilling or deeper drilling, like we do within SMP. We develop, I mean, all the well control courses, but we also have in-house training rig, so the guys can do you know, can do the training in live. We also have simulators, of course. So that's basically it. I mean, just to end up, I mean, in geothermal, I mean, we are, what we see, I mean, the main challenge is all the preparation work that has to be done, and typically the delays from the time we are involved in the drilling, I mean, in the first phase of a project to the execution, that can be a year to typically 2 years and plus. So I think we are.
Bonjour.
Yeah.
Oui.
Yeah, sorry. So someone was asking a question. But I mean, we are, as Miklos mentioned this morning, I mean, we are all in the same game. I mean, and the main challenge is many projects, but the time frame, I mean, to execute the project is really long. Yeah, I mean, we are very happy to join EGEC, and we're hoping that we can contribute more, I mean, in the coming months.
Thank you, Benjamin. Indeed, it's nice to see you joining EGEC. There's a question for you in the chat if you want to answer directly in the chat. If not, as I mentioned at the introduction, we have some breakout rooms where you can engage in a private discussion. So up to you. Now we are coming to the last two presentations of members. We have first Horst Kreuter to present Vulcan Energy Resource GmbH. Horst, the floor is yours.
Yes, I welcome everybody. Happy to have the opportunity to present here. Let me just share my screen. Do you see the screen?
Yes, not yet in full screen mode, but we see your screen.
We're getting there. Okay, do you see the full screen?
When you swap, yes, click swap, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, okay. So again, welcome to present Vulcan Energie Ressourcen GmbH. We are a company that is combining zero carbon energy with zero carbon lithium. So we co-produce lithium at the same time as supplying heat and power to the public. We are not just a new member to EGEC, we are also a newly founded company. As a matter of fact, we have started the company in 2018. It was founded in Perth in Australia by Francis Vedin, a geologist coming from the lithium space, and from myself being in the geothermal space for more than 20 years now. Two geologists starting a company, you need money. So we decided to list the company on the stock exchange. So we went to the stock exchange and picked up about $6 million Australian dollar to start our company. The subsidiary in Germany, because what we are doing is we are producing power and lithium and heat in the Upper Rhine Valley in Germany. The Upper Rhine Valley is shared by Germany and France, and we are working in the German part. So we founded the German subsidiary in Karlsruhe in the year 2020. We had some more money take-ups at the stock exchange. So at the moment, we have about 200 million euros in the bank, and the market cap of our company in that short time has risen to about 800 million euros. What we do with this, we develop projects, we develop technologies, and we need people for that. We started out the two of us. Now we're about 80 people. 200 people working for the company. We understand ourselves as a European and a German company. Therefore, we're going to be listed in January 2022 at Frankfurt Stock Exchange to get really European. We have just founded a drilling company, so I will come back to that later. We're looking at lithium as a resource for the battery factories that are popping up in Europe and all over the world. We have looked into geothermal brines as a resource for zero carbon lithium, and we saw that there are mainly two areas where a lot of positive parameters are popping up. You have to have heat above 140 degrees C to use the heat for the extraction to really make lithium production CO2 free. You need high lithium grades. We have about 180 in average in the Upper Rhine Valley, which is almost the same as in Salton Sea in the US. What we both share are high flow rates. There are some areas that have even higher lithium grades in the brine, but they are missing flow rates. So you also have flow rate, permeability of the subsurface to produce. And also chemical composition is key. There are some compositions that give you a hard time extracting lithium. Some of them are easier to handle, and we are lucky that the brine in the Upper Rhine Valley is easy to handle. How do we know that there's lithium in the brine of the Upper Rhine Valley? There have been in the 18th French colleagues, among them Albert Jantet, that we all know well, has done a study on lithium in the brine in the Hagenau area in Alsace. And from that, we have an overview from several wells that you see in the on the left side, how much lithium is there at what depth. It's important to understand that temperature and lithium content are depending on each other. So the hotter you get, the more lithium is in it. Therefore, we have to use the deep reservoirs, deeper than 2,500 meters, to get the lithium. So what are we doing? On the left lower corner, you see the production well. So we, as in every other geothermal power plant, we drill wells, we produce the brine. We have to cool the brine for the extraction down to about 75 degrees C, which means we cool it down by an energy process, producing heat, electricity to cool the brine down. With 65 degrees, we then in a physical process extract the lithium from the brine before we re-inject it into the subsurface. Then we do that in a so-called direct lithium extraction plant, a physical process that is catching the lithium ions out of the brine. Then you flush the resin, the sorbent with clear water, and then you get lithium chloride that you send then to a refinery, which we have intend to build near Frankfurt. And there lithium hydroxide is produced, and this lithium hydroxide then ends up in the batteries of your laptop or in your car. It's a fully closed cycle in the production of energy as well as lithium, so there are no big environmental impacts. That you see here, we have compared the lithium from brine in the Upper Rhine Valley to hard rock mines in Australia, refined in China, and then the salars in South America. And you see that in all important areas, brine resource for lithium is top. Carbon emissions are very low. It's minus because we produce more renewable energy that we need for the extraction process. So you could define that as being minus, but also in water consumption, land use, reagents, and waste generation, we're a lot smaller than the other ways to produce lithium. We have a pilot plant up and running at a geothermal power plant in Germany. Since April, we have produced lithium hydroxide for it, and this lithium hydroxide is better than the qualities expected by the battery industry. Our goals we try to reach until 2025 is to produce 40,000 tons of lithium hydroxide per year, which would be sufficient for about 1 million electric cars per year. I mentioned in the beginning that we have a lot of projects to do. Therefore, we secured drilling capacity. What we did, we founded a drilling company. We bought 2 rigs that we have to refurbish. They are deep drilling rigs that can drill down to 5,000 meters and more. And we hope to use them until we get new ones for the next 10 years. We have started Ressourcen with about 30 employees, and the headquarters in Karlsruhe. That ends our story. It's a very interesting story. We moved up from a startup to a very impressive company, and we have a lot of ideas and visions that we do. Therefore, we have booked the trademark Zero Carbon Lithium to describe what we're doing. And we have 2 daughter companies, Geothermal Engineering GmbH and GECO GmbH. Both are members of EGEC for many years, and now Vulcan has joined the group. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Arsten. Indeed, good to see such a company developing new products like the geothermal lithium made in Europe. Now we go to the last presentation, and I will give the floor to Robin Hammersman from Yeager Energie, a developer in Netherlands. Robin, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Philippe. Good morning, everyone. Let me share my screen. Is this okay?
Yes, I confirm. It's fine.
Very good. Yeah, once again, thank you very much for the opportunity to introduce Yeager Energie. My name is Robin Hammersman. I'm the founder of Yeager Energie, jointly with a colleague. We started in 2018, and since the beginning of this year, we've been financed by an investment fund called Kerosene Capital. And since then, we basically are progressing our strategy on developing geothermal energy and district heating networks in the Netherlands, but we're also looking internationally. Let me skip this. Well, this is the team, but I'll skip that for now. So quickly, our vision is really to become an industry leader in the safe supply of sustainable, reliable, and affordable heat. we formulated this. We really kicked off initially as a geothermal operator, really wanted to drill wells and simply said sell heat at the fence. In the Netherlands, we've come to the conclusion it's much better to actually move into the entire heat value chain to both technically and commercially optimize the entire value chain. It helps to reduce costs. So that's what we're pursuing at the moment, where it's possible. We want to establish a significant heating business. We're in the game for a portfolio of wells, not one or two systems. And we believe, well, both the Netherlands and the EU is a significant growth area. Again, I will not go through all the details. As said, we're a new entrant, but we've come with a long history from oil and gas. Both myself and my co-founder, we have 30 plus years experience in oil and gas, but also in the last few years, a lot more experience in geothermal through companies like Vermilion Energie and some other companies. So quickly, our strategy is really to develop, own and operate conventional deep geothermal energy. So we're not focusing on the ultra deep or the shallow part of geothermal energy. And what I said before, it includes smart district heating networks where possible. So we call it our source to sales strategy as well. Again, the entire value chain. As I said before, we want to have a portfolio approach for all the obvious reasons. It's also a request from our investor. We're looking very much at innovation. So what we've seen in the Netherlands so far is which was fine, is a direct application of all the oil and gas practices to geothermal, which is fine, but we believe there's a lot of optimization to be done. Because at times it also means a bit of an overkill in certain operations. Part of our strategy is both organic and inorganic growth. We're very much interested in different partnerships or corporations, which could also mean that we participate in licenses or projects as a non-operated partner. As I said before, we want to expand internationally, both heat and power. The temperatures in the Netherlands are such that only heat is actually applicable, space heating, and maybe partially heating for industrial processes. Temperatures generally are just below 100 degrees Celsius. So just not efficient enough for power. But if we move internationally, then that may be the case. And of course, everything we do is all with high regard to HSE integrity and stakeholder management. Yeah, quick updates. Said before, Carriage Capital is now our prime investor. We have spent a lot of time with an investment fund called Infra Capital, probably known to some of you. As the word says, they invest a lot in infrastructure and a lot of sustainable infrastructure. So they could be a good partner. We've just been awarded 3 geothermal exploration licenses in the Netherlands. We've acquired a small heat company, again in the Netherlands, with which we've acquired a non-operating share in a project which is operated by Shell Geothermal in the Netherlands. We've qualified as a geothermal operator by the Dutch regulator. And as I said before, we commenced scouting internationally. Our prime focus now is on Germany and Hungary. We're a member of several sector organizations. So quickly in the Netherlands, it's a small country. Geothermal kicked off some 15 years ago, mainly in the greenhouse sector. As you can see from this map, all the areas in green are awarded exploration licenses. The green dashed ones are exploration licenses that are still in applications. And the pink ones are really geothermal production licenses. The blue ones in the north called Purmerend, just above Amsterdam. More in the center or western center is near the city of Leiden, Oude Rijn. In the south, it's license called Nissewaard. And it's difficult to see, but it's called the De Leer. That's the license that we've entered into through our acquisition of this heat company, which is operated by Shell. One of the challenges in the Netherlands is actually, if you go into residential customers, the Netherlands has always been a very gas-dependent country. So we have a large gas infrastructure, which has suited our our heating needs for the last 50 or 60 years or so. The climate ambition in the Netherlands is to move away from gas as well, and more move towards sustainable forms of heating. One of the challenges we have in the Netherlands is, there's only 4% of Dutch households are effectively connected to a district heating network. So to deploy geothermal heating to residential areas, we need to start building infrastructure. And that could be the bottleneck for a large-scale deployment of geothermal energy in the Netherlands. Having said that, there's a lot of initiatives. There's a lot of companies popping up also in the district heating business, district heating network business, I should say. And that also has meant for us that we've embraced this part of the business as well, as in addition to our geothermal energy business. Now, internationally, again, I don't have to. I think everybody's aware of the geothermal potential in Europe. But again, on our strategy, we're targeting both heat and power. Here, internationally, again, it also applies both organic and inorganic growth. So happy to acquire either licenses or companies. Our prime focus for now has been mainly Germany and Hungary, but we're looking at these other countries as well. Some of these, what we then call tier 2 countries, although France and Italy, of course, are very established countries. It's the same reason for us to say, well, we should maybe look at that at the second opportunity. Again, well, this is a picture that comes from EGEC. The opportunity is clear in Europe, and we're on a journey to expand the business rapidly, build a large portfolio in the Netherlands and internationally. That's all I want to share with you guys. If there's any questions, you're welcome to answer them.
Thank you. I mean, indeed good to see all the development you have in your pipeline, in your basket. So really interesting. No, we are a bit late. It's 12 o'clock, but anyway, we keep 10 minutes more. We will open breakout rooms. So all the different members today, you will be allocated to one room for the name of your entity, and all the participants will engage with you if you have any question. So see you in the break rooms, and at 10 past 12, we will close them. So you have a bit less than 10 minutes. See you there.
Excuse me.
Hello, Consuelo, do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Is everything fine? Arpad, Caroline,
Yes.
Olga, do you want to go to another room?
No, not necessarily. No, I suppose I just missed most of the presentations. I'm sorry about that. I just tried if something is still going on.
Don't worry.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me in geothermal and genomics? Anyone of you?
Places where and places where you can expect some delays, but the time. I mean, I usually don't follow the whole process, but from what I've seen, that it takes more or less 10 years in those countries, from exploration to exploitation of the field. It's not much more than European times. So I think.
So any questions or any remarks to get?
Drilling. Yeah. So we, depending on the original scope of work of the workover, we divide the job, you know, in kind of blocks or in kind of activity, and we can tell the client, okay, if the scenario is going that way, this block and this block and this block will be basically